this started. All right. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining. First of all, I'd like to thank Certification Station for sponsoring this session. You know, Certification Station is one of the greatest communities with more than 25,000 members, and it helps people to earn certifications every day. So it's one of the best places to be if you're pursuing a certification. My name is Luciano, or Lucho Vaschetti. You may also know me as LB Cert Prepper on Certification Station Discord channel. Since July last year, I'm a CISSP holder, and I'm really happy about it. I also became CCSP certified this year, so you could tell that I am an ISC square double deeper. In this presentation, I'm gonna share my journey to CISSP and tell you about my personal experience with defeating this beast. So what is CISSP? CISSP is, as you may know, is Certified Information Systems Security Professional, and it is an independent information security certification granted by the International Information System Security Certification Consortium, which is also known as ISC Square. And as you can see in this diagram, over the myriad of certification that exist out there in the world, CISSP is one of the biggest, high level, and most comprehensive ones. And it is known for being mile wide, inch deep, meaning that there's a lot of content covered, but each topic is covered at a surface level. And that said, there are some topics that you're gonna need to cover more in depth. So where did I start? I started right from the exam outline. This is the exam outline, which is a document that helps you understand what's in scope and what's not. It is available online at ISC Square's website. It is comprehensive in nature, meaning that if one topic is there in the exam outline, it is in scope, and if it's not in scope. So you can trust this document because it's written by ISC Square. And it basically allows you to map content from the material to the syllabus back and forth. Then I moved to the official books. So there are, as per my understanding, there are two main books. One is the official study guide, which is known as OSG, and the other one is the CBK, the Common Body of Knowledge, I think. They provide in-depth explanation. They're long book, 1,000 pages each. So you can choose any one of them because they provide in-depth explanations for every topic that is in scope. They cover 99% plus of the content, and they are worth reading cover to cover because you're gonna want to know all the content for this exam. I personally found OSG more bearable than CBK. CBK is more drier, you may say, but that's up to you. My advice is that you choose your body and read it cover to cover. You're gonna want to know the content for this exam. You're not gonna get away without knowing the content. Twice, probably you're gonna want to read them twice. Worst case scenario, you're gonna go faster in the parts that you already know. They may be too much, read it twice, I did it, but at least reread the topics that you are not 100% comfortable with. Where to continue? Certification Station. I discovered this late in my preparation journey, but this is gold. As a matter of fact, this presentation is being is being hosted and sponsored by Certification Station, so they do great stuff. It's a huge community. There are a lot of subject matter experts participating from this community, which is really great. They help people every day, and authoritative discussions happen every day. I mean, people in Certification Station, the people that comprise Certification Station as a whole know what they're talking about. They are authoritative enough. So, talking about subject matter experts, these are minds. And I say minds because I kind of use them throughout my preparation journey. First of all, what's a subject matter expert? It's a person who is an authority in a particular area or topic, meaning that they have spent a lifetime or so in developing themselves as such in the domains of any given topic. CISSP, for example. Some of them are even the first ones that got into the field. So I'm gonna talk about them. Starting by Sir Adam Gordon. This guy, you may have heard of him if you are participating from Certification Station. This guy is great. His boot camps, he gives free boot camps that are hosted also by Certification Station that are really great. I did them. He does daily questions. He has an IT Pro TV course that I bought and done, which really paid off. So great guy. Next, it is Thor Peterson, which in my opinion, his best material is his hard question pack. They're really worth it. I think it is 4 sets of 150 questions each. Really provides you with a good idea of what hard questions are. Mrs. Kelly Handerhan has a cyber course. I don't know if it's still online. She also has a widely known how you will pass the CISSP video on YouTube, and also has a really good explanation on Kerberos. Then it goes Larry Greenblatt, known for his Kirk and Spock series from Star Trek. I think that provides you with a systematic approach for tackling questions. Then you have Rob Witcher. He has YouTube mind maps that helped me review the contents on the last days. And last but not least, Mr. Wensu. He provides daily far-fetched, strange, and outside-the-box questions that help me prepare for the unexpected. So these are the subject matter experts that worked for me. They provided me with lots of information, lots of useful information, and helped me master my content. So to crack this exam, you will have to own the content. You gotta know it inside out and be able to talk authoritatively about it. So how to master that content? First, you have to read the material, OSG, CBK, you name it. Then you may want to raise up your game by challenging and testing your own knowledge. You can use questions, YouTube videos, or any other material that helps you do that. Finally, engaging in discussions with people will help you to tell if your knowledge is correct and either solidify it or correct it. My advice here is that you don't skip steps, because it would be confusing to engage in a discussion without basic comprehension of a topic. So remember that this is an internal process to master content. It's just for you. and you don't have to demonstrate anything to anyone. You don't have to engage in a discussion of digital signatures if you don't get the basic grasp of that. So, for example, talking about digital signatures, a basic comprehension will be reading it from OSG, reading this page with the list of steps. Let me zoom in for a minute. So here you have all the basic explanation about how digital signature works. I think there are more pages, but it's just an example. Then when you got this, or at least when you think you got this, you can challenge your knowledge. You can go to certification station and search in the box at the right for questions like this. You can test your knowledge. You don't have to wait until the test day for testing your knowledge. And you can even watch videos on YouTube and nurture from different explanations and different explanations about how that works. And then when you're ready, you can move on and try to engage in discussions, as we said. So here you have on screen a discussion between me and another team member that I blurred. So how digital signatures work, I think that's not 100% accurate. That's a discussion. It's probably not. This is correct. That said, so there you go. You have a discussion. Then here you can validate if what you got from this and from this is correct, and if you get a good grasp about it. So after doing this in a respectful way, in a comprehensive nature, you're gonna be almost sure that all digital signatures questions in the exam, you're gonna be able to answer them correct. So my tip here is that you're ready when you're able to explain to others. That's why it's so important to engage in discussions. Because, for example, for digital signatures, you're going to want to know what is it useful for and what is it not useful for. You're going to want to be able to talk about this in different scenarios. And I don't mean that you're going to memorize scenarios, but at least you're going to be able to have a discussion, at least in a few of them. So don't panic. This is how Google Keep Archive looks for me in my account. If I search for CISSP, you're gonna notice that here there are some comments in Spanish because that's my native language. So here I have different checklists, notes, links, comments that help me understand across my journey, which were the topics that required further investigation to be fully understood. So I kept separate lists. Here you see that I have questions of the day lists. I almost go crazy trying to have a system to focus on some areas that needed more focus. It looks like a mess because it is, but for me it didn't matter. I just need a way to track things down. So this is something that worked for me, flashcards. Basically, you write a topic name or whatever you want to learn and write the answer on the flip side. You're going to notice that rote memorization is worthless. For example, cable speeds or data center fire rating, or you name it, or any other number. But that said, it's good to use to solidify concepts. For example, the difference between IPsec tunnel mode and transport modes. You write it down in a flashcard, and then you try to memorize it. So this is how my flashcards look. You can see a string here. So think like a manager, a widely spread advice. And I took a list from Gwen Bedwis, who did a talk a few months ago, and I participated. First of all, you want to spend your money wisely, hire the right people, and follow the right processes. That's how a manager thinks. Second, the correct answer is from the manager's point of view. It's not that common that the technology answer is the right one, since technology tends to change over time. So typically, technology is not the right answer. However, you need to have a good idea, a good grasp about technology to be able to answer from a manager's point of view. Look for generic answers. They typically work on any business. Also look for summary answers and try not to pick specific technology ones unless there's no better options. Remember that life safety is first. And you kind of find your answer. Try to find the right answer in this order. First, starting by people, hiring the right people, making sure they're trained. That's why awareness is so important. Then go to processes such as change management, BCP, SDLC, or whatever process you have in front of you. And last, go to technology. Get to the right technology and keep in mind that technology changes. So risk is probably the best process answer. Know the language of risks. There are lots of books about risk. Also, you have risk management framework. You have, I was gonna say about risk. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of stuff written in terms of risks. So remember that decisions should be cost justified. Spend your money wisely and think of cost benefit. Remember that you're a C-level at the end of the day. And remember that it's all about business and the corporation, the business leads. So suit up and prepare to think like a manager. All right. There are some questions that go there right to the bone, but there are others that are harder in nature. So this is a widely known procedure, at least at third station, to tackle hard questions effectively. First, you're gonna read the question, read the answers, and eliminate 2 incorrect answers. Then you're gonna reread the question, you're gonna choose a final answer, and hit next. It's easy to say, but hard to accomplish. Sometimes we rush to select an answer, and then we realize that if we had chosen better, we would have gotten it right. You can improve your skills with practice questions. That's when Thor's hard questions and Wentzu daily questions kick in. Those are really good buddies to practice this. Finally, never change your answer. That's the best piece of advice I can give you here. Changing answers leads to overthinking, losing time, uncertainty, bad feelings. So choose your answer wisely and move on. All right, so if you're in the last days before the exam, by now you should know the content. You should have challenged your content, and you should have engaged in discussions. So you should be there by this point. So it's time to wrap up your content. Try to cover any gaps you find while reviewing the content, which by this time it should be fairly simple because you know your content and you have challenged that. So if you have any gaps, it should be easy to cover them. Get out of Discord as much as you can. You don't want to adapt about what you already know. If you have stayed enough at this point, you should leave. That's my advice. That's an advice I've taken, and I'm giving it because it kind of worked to be able to relax. Just try to relax, take walks, meditate, go out with friends, whatever works for you, that's fine. So about your attitude at this point, try not to be neither overconfident or scared. Try to find middle ground there. You will need a humble but confident attitude at the exam room. My advice here is not an advice, it's just reality. This exam is really hard, but not impossible. Many people take this exam daily and they pass. Many people take this exam daily and they fail. But I think if you have made justice and you have covered all the content and treated this certification with the respect it deserves, you're gonna pass. You're gonna make it. So on the exam room, arrive on time, wear comfortable clothes. I'm just regurgitating other people's advice, but really worked for me. Focus on the question in front of you. You don't want to be overthinking about question 23 when you're on question 95. So focus just on the question in front of you. A pass is a pass, no matter how many questions. I personally passed at 100 questions, but took the advice not to freak out if question 101 appeared there. So for me, it was kind of a surprise that the exam finished on question 100. Trust yourself. You're gonna make it. You gotta have the right attitude to do that. And my advice here is, although this is an adaptive exam and you may want to do a great job on the first questions of the exam because that's how adaptive exams works. Have in mind that question 10 is as worth as question 126. You're gonna get tired throughout the exam. So be ready to breathe and treat the last questions with respect and no rush, because rush is gonna make you fail. So if you pass this exam, you can enjoy this big time. You have put so much effort in this and it finally pays off. If you didn't pass, I think it would be good to take a few days to rest and take the exam again as soon as you can. That's me, by the way. So that's all I have for today's session. And now I'm gonna leave this space open for Q&A.
Awesome. Thanks for the wonderful presentation and the tips and a piece of advice that was really, really helpful. So yeah, the floor is open for questions, and if anyone has questions, feel free to post them in the chat, or just unmute yourself and ask away the question. Like, this is your time to actually ask anything, any questions relevant to CISSP. So.
Hi. Well, while people think about their questions, there's a question that I actually receive a lot, and probably Luciano can help me answer that. And it's related to the language. And as you mentioned, your first language is not English, same as my case. So what will you recommend to those who are not English native speakers? Do you find that as a challenge while you were preparing?
That's a good question. And when I started preparing for this certification, although I knew that it is possible to write this exam in Spanish, which is my main language, I decided to start preparing in English and have the test in English, because probably there are sometimes where the translations are not good enough. So for me, it's easier to prepare for the exam in English and write it in English, because I also know that if I get to write in Spanish, I have to do the mental translation, and there are some pieces of content that are only in English, and I would get lost in translation. So that said, I think it's some questions maybe vague and maybe hardly written. So the best thing you can do is try to answer as many practice questions as you can before the exam. But about that, try to when you go here, something I forgot to mention is that when you're trusting someone to be your guide, you want to trust authoritative people. You don't want to trust some random guy from the internet that is new. This may be controversial, but you don't want to trust. You don't want to trust Lucio Vaschetti, your content. You want to trust in Adam Gordon. You want to trust in Thor Peterson. Those guys are subject matter experts. So that's my piece of advice. There are some questions online. I heard of people that says, I found this new set of questions that simulate the exam. I don't think that they're worth it until they are proven to work, like these guys here, these guys and girl here. So that's my piece of advice. Do practice questions, but not any practice questions.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. We do have one more question, and that's from JT. So he or she says, I have taken Adam's boot camp and read the OSG. Do you believe that covers the basics and that now I should focus on practice questions? Or will the other courses by Thor, Kelly, etc. be worth the time investment?
All right. Yeah, I think that if you read OSG and did Adam's bootcamp, you have covered not only the basics, but you have covered everything. You have covered the content. So you're in this first stage of basic comprehension. So what I would do and what I have done is to challenge my knowledge in the Search Station channel, YouTube, whatever, and engage in discussions. But in terms of content, that works. That's OSG cover to cover works. And if you complemented that with Adam's bootcamp, I think that's enough in terms of contents. You're welcome.
Great. We do have one more question. That's from Q4. Sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly. They say, hi, thanks for sharing, Lucio. In your experience, how different were the questions in the exam compared to those in the CIBEX OSG and practice test books? So yeah, you may answer that one without violating the NDA for sure.
All right. Yeah, in my experience, you may say that there are no questions, that no practice questions are close to the exam questions, but I think it may not be true. Some questions go right to the bone. So some questions really ask you about, just giving an example here, but really ask you about what is digital signature, or what does it work for, and some others there are not, and some others probably are gonna give you a complete scenario and make you think inside out what is digital signature. So I wouldn't freak out much about that and would try to do as many practice tests and questions as possible. I also found that if you pay for content, that's worth it most times. I bought IT Pro TV membership. I bought hard questions, and it's really worth it. That's why they charge that. But that said, you could even prepare 100% with free material. You can engage in discussions or do questions from search stations. In the end, you're gonna want to talk authoritatively about any given topic.
Great, thank you. Nushin asks, apart from OSG, which book you prefer to read cover to cover? Will 11th Hour will cover everything?
I also read 11th Hour, and I think it doesn't cover everything in terms of content. That's why it is way, I think it may be 20% of the length of the OSG and CBK. I also read CBK, but I didn't really enjoy that. But I think OSG covers that. If you read OSG cover to cover once, and you go from zero to hero on every topic that you don't feel 100% comfortable with, I think you done it. You don't need to read tons of material. OSG is 1,000 pages alone, so that pretty much covers the content.
Yeah, thank you. And
you're welcome.
Okay, thanks. Yes, for my studies as well, I referred to OSG as far as I remember. And yeah, I did refer a bunch of other resources, everything that I could grab, put my hands on so that the concept actually sinks. That was helpful. Okay, so any further questions from anyone in the group? Please feel free to ask away or put it in the chat thread.
Actually, I was going to add from my own experience, yeah, besides OSG that I read cover to cover twice. Yes, it's crazy, but I did that. I also read Adam's notes from the boot camp and reviewed what his accelerated course from IT Pro TV. So it was a great resource. And 11 Hour is a very good resource, but use it as a way to review the main topics. So as Luciano mentioned, it will not cover everything. So it will be a good way to refresh the main topics, but will not be like enough to prepare for the exam.
Yeah, for sure. And in the end, all you wanna have to do to crack this exam is to master the content. As long as you master the content, if you cover, you gotta be something for sure. As long as you have read OSG cover to cover, you're covered in terms of content. But it doesn't mean that you understood everything there, because you have basic comprehension. You gotta be sure that you completed these 3 steps here. At least that works for me.
Right. Okay, let's see. So yes, I have a question. Will the link to Zoom recording be available to watch again? Yes, that would be available for everyone. And don't see any further questions. Any questions? Going once, going twice,
Yeah, I don't
probably
see
going
any.
thrice. Sorry, Susie, sorry.
No, I was just saying that I don't see any other questions.
Okay, so probably let's call it a evening. Thank you so much, Lucio, once again for sharing your experiences, advices, and tips. We do appreciate the time, and thank you so much for allowing us to record the session so that more people can benefit from this. Yeah, on behalf of certification stations, we definitely thank you and congratulate you for your awesome accomplishments.
All right. Thank you, Certification Station, for giving me this opportunity to share. And thanks everyone for joining, and feel free to contact me on Discord should you have any questions or want to talk about anything related to certifications. LB Cert Prepper is my handle on Discord. And that's it. Thank you very much.